Everyone, welcome to the RotoGrinders Morning Grind podcast. I'm your host, Stevietpfl. It's Monday. It's September 9th. It is 2024. We have a 6-game MLB slate to talk about here on today's podcast, joined today by Stevietpfl, TastefulTides. Tim, NFL Week 1 in the books, kind of. We got Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Football still going, but Week 1 in the books. Back at it with the baseball podcast today. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. It was like a so-so day for me. I won in cash games, but I didn't quite win with like my primary GPP single entry team. So I basically broke even on DK and won a little bit on FanDuel. At least I think I'm going to. But the showdown slate's a disaster for me. So I'm happy to talk baseball now.
Yeah, I mean, I was having an awesome day. So I took down a tournament yesterday in NASCAR Xfinity. So, like, I wasn't going to be mad. Like, I had a team that I made one main lineup in Xfinity because I was coaching volleyball yesterday, and I entered it in like 5 or 6 contests, and it was just one of the better lineups, and it took down multiple stuff. So,
Awesome.
so like, it was gonna be a good weekend regardless because of that. And then I was dominating the cup race, I was gonna have a really good day in the cup race, and the last lap just absolutely destroyed me. So NFL, I think I lost a few $100. I have one team on FanDuel that has Cooper Cup that's like climbing up some tournament boards. So like maybe I make money, but I'm not counting on that until it actually happens. So we'll see. All right, let's talk some baseball. We have 6 games. An interesting. I'll say it. It's an awful slate. I tweeted out how bad the pitching is on the slate. So it's just not good. We get started with Kansas City at New York. Singer and Rodon facing off against each other. Oh, what's the total in this game? I didn't write this total down. 8.5, Yankees minus 175. I don't know. It was the only one that I didn't have written down on my sheet. I don't know why. I'm really tired. NASCAR playoffs and NFL Week 1.
Slate's not going to help.
Yeah, I know.
It's not going to help. Yeah.
I know. Let's start here with Brady Singer. Any interest in Singer here against the Yankees?
I really don't. I mean, you mentioned how bad the pitching is on the slate, but so is some of the hitting, but not with this Yankees club. So I really don't see any reason to play Singer in this matchup. We do have guys with better K rates that we can pitch even on this awful slate. So really, I think Singer's a pretty easy X out for me.
Yeah, I mean, talent matters on this slate just in general, but. I mean, the matchup's so tough against the Yankees. They're a really tough team against right-handed pitching. 215 ISO with the normal starting lineup, 350 WOBA, only 21% Ks. So really hard to get excited about playing Singer against them. Other side here, any interest in Carlos Rodon against Kansas City?
I have quite a bit of interest in Rodon against Kansas City. It's just, really, I think he's like the safest of all the pitchers on the entire slate. He would be my heaviest owned pitcher if I was MMEing this slate. I think he should have he's probably going to end up being like 40% owned, but I don't really care that much. Like there's not a lot of ceiling with the rest of the pitchers on the slate. So he's my favorite pitcher. This Royals team does have a couple strong pieces, but really this is a pretty weak lineup. So I'm not really intimidated by it. I think he can get through it pretty easily. Outside of the usual, Bobby Witt or, Sal Perez, there really isn't anyone to challenge him.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I think this is a great spot for upside, but I will say, they do have this, left-handed or right-handed lineup they run out against left-handed pitching that has a really low K rate. If he's just, uber chalky on a 6-game slate and they roll that lineup out, I could see myself being underweight on them. or underweight on him, but wouldn't fade him. Not on this slate with the pitching that we have, but I could see myself taking advantage of the matchup and being underweight on him. But I mean, there's not a lot of good arms today, just in general. They kind of stink. Looking at the Kansas City lineups, Witt, Perez, Renfroe, all really solid against lefties. They have Tommy Pham in this lineup now too. I assume Tommy Pham hits leadoff here. He still has really solid numbers this season against left-handed pitching. What are your thoughts here when it comes to Kansas City?
I would just take one-offs of like Bobby Witt or Sal Perez, maybe Paul DeYoung at 3,600, but it would only, I don't even want a 3-man stack this team. It would only just be like power one-offs.
Yeah, I mean, any of the 4 names that I mentioned, if you're going to be underweight on Rodon and you want to get overweight on Pham, Witt, Perez, Renfroe, DeYoung, Fermin, if he catches. Other side here, Yankees. I mean, it's not like Singer is a bad pitcher by any means, but I mean, he definitely has a lot more issues with like lefties, and this game is in Yankee Stadium. So a lot of interest here in like Juan Soto, Austin Wells, Jazz, Anthony Rizzo back in this lineup. Like, I could see myself stacking the Yankees.
Definitely. I think they're going to be one of the top stacks, if not the top stack. I think they're, in a pretty solid spot. Like that Rizzo call quite a bit. He's only 3,500, so in Yankee Stadium, that short porch in right field, I don't mind that at all. And then Chisholm, I think it's fantastic. Soto. So I mean, we have the lefties in this lineup that we can use to our advantage. And then obviously guys like Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton. I mean, Stanton's only 4,800. I know that he does have a high K rate, but I don't really care. His power he has immense upside at under 5K. So I really like this whole team.
All right, moving on. We got Mets at Blue Jays in this one. 8.5 total pick'em game. Slight favorite to the Mets. We got Blackburn and Bassett facing off against each other. Paul Blackburn coming back from the IL, was out a couple weeks. Like, I thought it was like right at that 15-day mark.
Yeah.
He got hit in the hand by a line drive and missed a couple weeks. So I don't know what to really expect as far as pitch count for him. He did do a rehab start and threw 6 innings, 6.2 innings. So I assume that like he is good to go innings wise here. Any interest in Blackburn in this spot?
I think he's a little bit too expensive. I think this Blue Jays team, it's not like an amazing squad by any means, but outside of like Loperfido and maybe Schneider, there aren't really a lot of Ks, especially at the top half of this Blue Jays lineup. So I think he's just a little bit too expensive coming off the IL. I don't think he has really any ceiling in this spot, so I would be out on Blackburn.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't love the spot overall. He's not typically a guy I like to play anyway. And then the Blue Jays, I mean, they can hit when they get going. They can hit. Like, it just depends on the day that you get them. And I mean, that's why they're like one of the most tilting offenses in baseball. But yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily love this spot for Blackburn. And then Bassett on the other side, he has a little bit of talent. This game is in Toronto. If it was in Citi Field, I'd have a little bit more interest here. But again, we just don't have a lot of pitching options. But it's a tough lineup. Top half of this lineup, very good, especially against right-handed pitching. Lindor, Nimmo, Vientos, Alonso, even Winker. Like, he's really going to have to do damage to the bottom half and just kind of keep the top half at bay if you're taking shots on Bassett.
I think for me, if I was like in a 20 max, he would definitely stay in my pool just because he does have a leash. I agree, though, like he's not a very talented pitcher, but there's not a lot of talent on the slate overall. So I think he does have potential to win you a GPP, as weird as that sounds. I do agree with you. I would get exposure to the others to the Mets bats as well. But I think I would keep Bassett, at least gets a small amount in like a portfolio of teams.
You're gonna have to. I mean, the pitching today is it's really bad.
Yeah.
If you're not playing Bassett, though, I think if you're looking at these Mets bats, Lindor, Nimmo, Winker, Vientos, Alonso, I mean, those are the 5 names I mentioned, but those are the 5 names you're targeting here against him. I prefer lefties against Bassett. He's still very good against righties. So maybe like a little 3-man with Lindor, Nimmo, and Winker. But I mean, if you're playing Mets, it's so hard to leave Vientos and Alonso out of your stacks because, I mean, those are the power bats in this lineup.
Yeah, and I have absolutely no interest in the bottom half of this Mets lineup. So I really like that idea of that 3-man lefty stack. But, I do agree that leaving Vientos and Alonso is tough. But I think that's an interesting 3-man, the Winker, Nimmo, Lindor. I like that.
Other side here, Paul Blackburn, I mean, below average strikeout pitcher, really struggles with right-handed power. And, I mean, that is going to be an issue with him in this spot because you have Springer, you have Vlad. Those are your 2 power right-handed bats in this lineup. I don't mind a mini stack from Toronto today either. I think this is a spot you could look at a mini stack for Toronto and attack like Blackburn's weaknesses, which is right-handed power.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could do a stack against them. I think you could also just take some of the power one-offs, like take a one-off of Vlad. I don't mind like a Spencer Horwitz. I guess he's only first base eligible. That makes it pretty tough because I like Vlad a lot more. So yeah, Vlad and Springer are your top targets. I think Kirk is cheap enough that he can be part of a stack. I think really this is just like a 3-man though for me.
All right, Baltimore at Boston, 9.5 total in this game. Pick'em game. Red Sox a slight favorite. We got Povich and Bayo facing off against each other. Do you prefer left-handed pitching against Boston? Just don't know if I could do it with Povich. Like we finally saw like some upside last time out where he basically just dominated the White Sox, but that's not saying a lot. In general, it's just, I mean, I don't know what to think here. Like, do we take shots on him in this spot or do we play the other cheap guy that has a much better spot?
I think we take shots on him. I don't like it. I don't love it. But I mean, the Red Sox are just so they're so below average against left-handed pitchers. So, I mean, I think it's worthwhile at this price tag to take a few shots on him. Like in an MME, I'd probably have him in 1 or 2 in a 20 max. He certainly would not make like a 3 max setting for me, but I think you take shots on him just because this Red Sox team just cannot hit lefties at all. It doesn't seem to matter who the lefty is. So I think we can take shots on him.
Yeah, they're just not going to be able to get the lefties out of the lineup either.
Right.
They can't get all the lefties out of the lineup. So there are a couple bats in this lineup that we'll talk about here in a minute that I really like. Trevor Story being back obviously helps the lefty issues, but we'll talk about some of these bats here in a minute. Other side of this game, we got Bayo against Baltimore. I mean, we've seen this guy from time to time have like upside games. He pitched really well against this team about a month ago. Any interest here in Bayo?
See, the issue is, I think he's too expensive. Like he really has no K upside. This team, I know he's pitched well against them, but this team is just too powerful. I don't think he has much of a ceiling, a realistic ceiling. At 8K, I think there's a couple other pitchers that I would much rather get to over Bayo. So for me, I think he would be an X out.
I mean, this is the problem with today's slate. It's just like there's not a home run pick by any means on anywhere. So, yeah, I mean, if you're running 150, I leave him in my pool. I think you take the shot on the talent. But outside of that, like I don't necessarily want to do it. So, yeah, I mean, I have a lot more interest in the Baltimore bats. Like his strikeout rate has just dipped down so much against lefties here, even recently, where I mean Gunnar, O'Hearn, Rutschman, Kowser, Mullins, like Jackson Holiday. I could see especially with this game being in Fenway and Baltimore on the road. Like, I could see Baltimore hanging a crooked number up here and like breaking the slate. So they're definitely a full on stack that I want to target on the slate.
Yeah, I really couldn't agree more. They're right up there with the Yankees for me. I think I slightly prefer the Yankees, but this would definitely be my next favorite. I really like Ryan O'Hearn. I don't think a lot of people are going to click that $5,000 price tag on him, so he's going to be interesting GPP play, I think. But I think he's outside of like Gunnar and Santander, like O'Hearn would be my next favorite Oriole bat.
On the Boston side, listen, I mean, if Povich, we really don't know what to expect yet. Like, he's still so new. It's so tough to tell still. So, like, obviously, ton of interest in Tyler O'Neill. He just absolutely mashes left-handed pitching. Connor Wong at catcher. Trevor Story is back. I don't mind Trevor Story here. And, I mean, Wong and Story are cheap. Like, they're both under 4K. O'Neill is not like overly expensive. They continue to struggle with left-handed pitching, and like that's a thing. So we'll have to kind of see like who's in the lineup if I want a full stack or not. But I'm definitely interested in playing some Red Sox here.
Yeah, I could see going like a Wong, Ref Snyder Story maybe. Like that little 3-man I think is interesting. Obviously Tyler O'Neill is fantastic if you want to spend that much on him. But I'm really out on, it sounds bad, but like I'm really out on Devers and Duran and Abreu and Yoshida. And Cassis. Like if they're all in the lineup, then I'm really.
I don't think Cassis will be in the lineup.
Yeah, Cassis won't be in the lineup, but I would expect like that top half will be Duran, Devers, Abreu, and Yoshida. I think will be.
Oh yeah, I mean we'll have to kind of see what the lineup looks like here overall, but I do expect some of these lefties to play, and I'm with you. I don't have a ton of interest in them. All right, we got Cleveland at Chicago taking on the White Sox today. 8.5 total. Cleveland a minus 220 favorite. Man, this team is awful. Cantilio, Joey Cantilio, going up against these names. Nick Nastrani, facing off against each other here. We'll start here with the young pitcher, Joey Cantilio. Just got recalled. We saw him a little bit earlier this year. I mean, lefty with some upside facing the White Sox. I mean, 6,200 on this slate. Like, I'll roll the dice. I don't really care that much. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I'm definitely willing to roll the dice here. He's got really, really strong high K rate numbers at AAA, but he also has incredibly high walk rate at AAA as well. This is essentially a AAA team that he's facing. So, I mean, it's like, I think he probably has, a 20 spot in him, like 20 fantasy points. I think he get there conceivably. So I think we can roll the dice with Cantillo. I don't hate it. I'd like to see kind of like what projections come out with between Povich and Cantillo, and also and ownership, just to see, because I'm really curious to see what that's going to say with these two low-priced pitchers.
Yeah, I mean, he's gotten hit hard this year. His advanced stats don't look great, but I mean, he started 4 games. It was earlier this year. Recently, but it was against Philadelphia, Baltimore, Minnesota, New York Yankees, and I think he threw out the bullpen against the Royals at one point. So, I mean, he's had a really tough road as far as opponents. I'm in. I'm just in. I mean, yeah, I'll roll the dice here. On the other side, Nastrini, man, this guy can't throw a strike to save his life. Just no chance on playing this guy against Cleveland.
Yeah, there's absolutely no shot that I I would X him out very, very quickly. He's I mean, it's only 160 plate appearances, but a 20% walk rate, only 50% Ks. Like no, thank you.
Yeah, easy. Not against Cleveland too. They're like one of the most patient offenses in baseball. I would be shocked if this dude makes it past the 5th inning in this game.
I would. That's a good call. I do not think he'll get past the 4th. To be honest with you.
Yeah, like if you find a book that has his odds anywhere with outs at like 15, just take the under.
Yeah,
like
I was just gonna say the same thing. What is outs props going to be?
Yeah, I mean, I doubt it'd be that low. It'd probably be 14.5, and I mean, I hate that extra half, but
I might bet that.
Bats here. Any interest in the Cleveland Bats?
I mean, yeah, I think we can definitely have interest in a lot of these bats. I think Jose Ramirez is a fantastic play at 6,200. Jimenez at 41, I think, is completely fine. Josh Naylor, it's like he's got humongous power against righties. So I mean, he's a great play. He's only 4,300. So I really like that. I didn't realize that Naylor's price had come down like that. So yeah, I really like Naylor. He might be one of my favorite plays. Be interested to see what his home run odds are.
I hate stacking Cleveland. But yeah, I mean, I'm in here. I think that this is a team that has some upside in this matchup. Walks and control issues against a team like this, they're gonna have the opportunities here. So yeah, I mean, I think this is a spot you definitely want to take some shots on Cleveland. White Sox bats. Any interest in the White Sox here?
I mean, not really. That's
awful.
I mean, I think Andrew Vaughn at 3,500 is okay. I think. And Robert, I guess, at 4,400 is okay, but really, I don't have any interest outside of that.
Do you want to guess what Robert's ISO is against left-handed pitching this season without looking?
I bet it's not very good. I do not know.
76 with a 246 WOBA and a 38% or 34% K rate. Not good. They stink. They're awful.
I know.
We got LA Angels at Minnesota taking on the Twins. 8.5 total in this game. Twins a 190 favorite. We got Detmers against my boy Festa. Any interest here in Reed Detmers?
I kind of do. This game is like really weird for me on both sides. Kind of have interest in Detmers and kind of have interest in Festa. So Detmers was all of a sudden figured something out in AAA. Came up and dominated the Dodgers for 10 strikeouts and 26 DK points. And now gets to face the Twins. So at 7,700, I think he certainly has tournament winning upside. If he's going to be chalky, that might be one thing to stay away from. But I think Detmers is absolutely worth taking several shots on in GPPs.
Yeah, I mean the strikeout, right? Like the strikeout upside is what you're attacking here. Minnesota, a team that I definitely don't want to pick on with right-handed pitching, but I'm much more willing to take shots on them with left-handed pitching. So, yeah, I mean I'm attacking the upside here. Festa might be my favorite pitcher on the slate on the other side of this game. I've been on this guy for months. I mean, I know I've talked a lot of people into liking him. He has talent. He's still raw, but I mean, he has a 29% K rate, and he's facing one of the worst offenses in baseball in LA here. So, I mean, this guy is a guy that, I mean, I'm going to keep playing him, and I definitely want to play him in this matchup against the Angels. So, yeah, I mean, I have a ton of interest in Festa today.
Yeah, I've been playing Festa pretty much the last, I don't know, couple months, I'd say, and it's been pretty amazing. The only downside to him is that they very, very rarely let him get over, I don't know, 85 pitches. They did let him get over, they let him get to 90 in his last start. so that's a good sign. So yeah, I mean, Festa and Rodon are my two favorites. So yeah, I love Festa. His price is climbing, which makes me a little bit nervous. But this matchup is just so fantastic. Doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I mean, we just like looking at it overall, it's just like it looks like he's kind of on an innings cap more than a pitch count cap, in my opinion. I don't think he'll throw more than 6 innings. The one time he did throw 6 innings against the Braves, he was kind of cruising in that game. So you're really hoping to get his strikeouts. Like that's what you're really hoping for here. He come out and he throws a lot of strikeouts. So, any interest in the Angels bats?
No.
Yeah, I mean they're not good. They're just not good. Like Mickey Moniak is like the one guy that I play from this team from time to time. He's really cheap. On the Minnesota side, I mean Carlos Santana was dealing with an illness yesterday or today, whenever you're listening to the podcast. So he's one of the guys that I really like against left-handed pitching. Lewis is a guy that I like against left-handed pitching. Jevers, but I'm not stacking Minnesota here. I would target like power one-offs.
I was just gonna say Jeffers and Lewis would really be the only two guys that I have much interest in at all on this Twins team. I think Detmers may be my third favorite pitcher on the entire slate, so I don't want to get a lot of exposure to Minnesota.
Yeah, we move on. We finish it here with the Cubs and the Dodgers. I thought this slate was really interesting because I really thought when I like opened up the slate in general today that DraftKings would add the 640 games and take this 10 o'clock game out and just have all the games starting within like an hour of each other. But that's not what happened. We got Cubs and Dodgers, and this game is 2 hours and 30 minutes after the game starts for the Minnesota team, and it has a 9 total, and the Dodgers are a 192 favorite. Kyle Hendricks and Walker Buehler facing off against each other. Kyle Hendricks here first. I can't play this guy. He stinks. Not against Dodgers. Yeah.
I mean, he's 6,200. We'd much rather play Povich. We'd much rather play the Guardians young guy, Quintillo. I'd much rather play Detmers. There's so many other guys I'd rather play than Hendricks. He's an easy cross off for me.
Walker Buehler's an easy cross off for me too. I mean, he's pitched a little bit better recently, but man, this guy just has not had any. I think he's had one upside game all year. He's just not right. His strikeout rate is awful. There's nothing in the stats that stand out to me and say, hey, you need to play Walker Buehler. I mean, I'm not doing it. Like he has a 17.9% K rate this year with a 245 ISO and a 390 WOBA.
It's so bad. Is he hurt? Like, what is going on with him? Or is he just like dead armed?
I don't know. There's some like stuff that's coming out like spin rate stuff for him, so I don't know if it has something to do with that or what, but yeah, something's not right with him. Huge issue for him overall.
Yeah. I mean, he was decent against the Angels, but that's not really saying much. I think he's got a path to double-digit fantasy points. So for 7K on this slate, it's not horrible, but I would certainly be very, very conscientious of my ownership on him.
All right, let's talk bats here. We'll go to the Cubs side first. I like the Cubs today. What do you think here about Chicago?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not as down on Buehler as you are, but I mean, I'm certainly still pretty down on him. Really like the obvious power lefties, like Bellinger, Bush, Happ. Those would be my favorite. Crow Armstrong at 3,500. I think a lot of people won't click on that name, so I think he's an interesting play for GPPs. And so, yeah, this team is pretty affordable. So, yeah, I mean, I don't mind the Cubs at all.
Yeah, I like the Cubs. I think this is a really good game stack to like come back from. Like it's just like one of those spots where it's like this is that game that could just break the slate, and it's the last game of the night. A lot of potential bats in this game, and I mean, I love the Dodgers. I think they're the top stack on the slate today. How do you not like the Dodgers in this spot against Kyle Hendricks with the power that they have throughout this lineup? Like, if you can fit them in, we have some cheap pitching that we talked about on the slate. Like, the Dodgers are in a great spot.
Yeah, I mean, on paper, this is an amazing spot for the Dodgers. You're just going to have to take some risks on some of those 6K SP2s that we talked about to get to more of these Dodger bats, which can be a little bit sketchy. But guys, I mean, obviously there's always Ohtani, but guys like Freeman, Muncy, Lux, Edman, like that's really not that expensive of 4 bats on the best team in the entire night. So, I mean, the Dodgers are the Dodgers, and I certainly am not going to fade them.
All right, let's play the morning grind game, and then we will get out of here. Under 8K to get 6 or more strikeouts. Who do you got?
I'll go Povich.
I'll go Detmers. Over 8K to score under 15. Who's your bust today?
I will go Singer.
Yeah, I'll go Bassett. Over 4K to go Yard. Who do you got?
Give me Muncy.
I'll go Tyler O'Neill. Under 4K to get 2 hits. Who's a cheap bet that you like today?
I'll go Edman.
Yeah, I mean, I got to go with my boy PCA.
Yeah.
Last time I talked about this guy, he went bonkers. This is a good spot for him. I like PCA. I like that game. Stack to score 6 or more runs. Who do you got?
I'll let you have the easy answer. I'll take the Yankees. I'll take the next easy answer.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I get that one. I'll go Cubs instead of Dodgers. Give me the Cubs.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I like that.
Off board. Any player props or pick'em plays that you like today?
I have not looked. Let me take a quick.
There wasn't a lot up yet.
Yeah, every time I join, there's nothing up. So I'm gonna have to look again.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be looking for Cantillo. I know I'm saying his name wrong, but I'll be looking for his Festa, his strikeout prop, potentially interesting. I was hoping Povich came in at 4.5. It came in at 5.5. I think it's too high. And then looking for some unders on Hendricks and Bueller, probably just in general. I think that both of those pitchers are going to get hit pretty hard. So those are the props that I know that I'll be looking at today.
Yep, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah. Any lines or any other bets you like today?
I kind of like the Orioles if they're going to be like minus 105. I like the Orioles.
Yeah,
I don't think the Red Sox should be favored in that game. So if they're favored, I'm going to bet the Orioles.
You can get the Orioles right now on DraftKings Sportsbook plus 102. That's the best line that's available. So.
That's really good. That's really good. I like that.
All right, 3-pick parlay for Monday. Paying the juice on a couple of these today. It's a smaller slate. There's a couple that I really like. I like the over in the Cubs-Dodgers game. It's 9.5. Get it at plus money right now on Hard Rock for me. I'm going to take the Yankees minus 180 to win the game. I like the Yankees to win over Kansas City today. Just think it's a much better spot for Rodon than it is Singer. So give me the Yankees. And there's places like BetMGM, you can get minus 175 to add it to this parlay where you can get it a little bit better than what I'm getting. And then I'm going to go to one of the early games that we didn't get a chance to talk about, but give me Philadelphia to beat Tampa Bay. Sanchez against Sulcer in that game. Tampa has really struggled with left-handed pitching all season, and now we get a low ground ball pitcher. I think this is a really good spot for Philadelphia. So Philly and Yankee money line and Dodgers Cubs over 9.5 plus 367 for my 3-pick parlay today. That's going to wrap it up here for Monday. We're back Tuesday talking more baseball. Good luck, everyone. We'll see you then.